Hi, guys. Welcome to the Simple Doesn't Mean Easy podcast. We are here every week working at simplifying things in our lives and improving the food on our table one day at a time, one simple step at a time. Today's episode is off the beaten path. Still talking about food, though. um, it is just a few days before Easter Sunday as I record this. And we had another episode all lined up in the queue, sitting there ready to go out on Monday. And it's been bugging me for a few weeks. I've shared with you guys that I will often record ahead. Sometimes we have recorded like 6 weeks or more ahead, which is exciting to do these great episodes and have them lined up and ready to share with you. Um, Sometimes, though, it's detrimental if there's something that's, very timely that I want to talk about, then it kind of messes up the schedule and we got to squeeze things in. Um, anyway, if you have been following me for any length of time, you know that typically on Easter, I share with you about my faith because I know it's not something that I typically feel led to talk about a lot on this platform. In real life, in person, it's hard to talk to me and it not come up, honestly. But I've always felt for a decade now that the platform that God has given me is to certainly serve Him, but not as a blatant faith based platform. I've always felt very strongly that I am here to simply point you guys to encouragement, to simplifying your life, and to improving your food, and to educating yourself some about nutrition and health. Um, and to me, all of that points back to my Lord and Savior. All of it points back to the provider of all of that. And his fingerprint is on all of it. But I realize that plenty of people that come to this podcast or that come across a recipe on my blog or that see a video on YouTube are not people who share my faith. And I totally understand and respect that. And I'll just tell you a secret. It's my personal belief that you're still going to see him through my work and what I share with you, even though I never discuss my faith. So that's always my motive, my goal, to give honor to the Lord in a very simple way by simply encouraging people to really enjoy his food and his creation and the way he has made us. Um, So anyway, typically around Easter, I will do an episode that I talk about that. And this year, I didn't do it. I didn't schedule it ahead. I didn't plan it in. And now I'm going to be really, really honest and bear with you and hopefully not cry. Um, it has been a very difficult season. For 12 weeks now, someone who I literally call my son has been incarcerated for a crime he did not commit. And the injustice and the evilness and the vile and the vindictiveness and the lies, they have been a very heavy weight on me. And I just totally, on purpose, skipped over the idea of doing any episode that was Easter related. I just didn't have it in me. And then I can't even tell you why. I really can't. Except for prompting of the Holy Spirit. Half an hour ago, I longed to pull out my Bible, and suddenly I longed to do an Easter recording, an Easter-related recording, and I reached out to my editor thinking for sure she'd be like, "Oh, that's not gonna be too easy. I don't think I can get that in so quickly." But I heard back from her within 30 seconds. "Sure, no problem." So, that sealed the deal. Here I am, guys, like it or not. Um, so 12 weeks ago, on one of the darkest days of my life, when I saw, I'm going to call him my son because, like I said, he essentially is in my heart for sure. When I saw my son being found guilty and being taken away in handcuffs, I, I couldn't even process it, and I'm not gonna share with you anymore. I feel like I've almost shared too much in the sense that it's really not my story to tell, at least right now. Um, I have a he has given me his permission to say what I have said, but, um, I that that very day, that evening, the subject of manna kept popping into my mind, and the wonderful young woman who was planning on becoming his wife, is still planning on becoming his wife. um Her and I were pretty much unable to even hold a conversation, but by the end of the night, we were trying. And I wanted to talk to her about manna. Like, it seems crazy, but I just kept thinking that, let me, okay, in case you don't know the story or what manna is, really brief overview, very brief. Um, the Israelites were God's people, and he was leading them through Moses as their leader to what was going to be their promised land. And they doubted, and they decided to be weary and complaining and tired and doubting that they would be able to take over this land because there were giants that lived there and they couldn't do that, not giving thought to the fact that God was the one who was going to do it, not them. So God told them they had to spend 40 years wandering pretty much in a big old circle in the wilderness. And throughout that time, he was teaching them, training them. Um, he was training up the next generation, is what it is, honestly. And through that time, he provided for them in a place that there was no food, there was no water, it was a desert, it was a wilderness. He provided for them daily. But here's the thing: the manna that came from the sky was like a bread, but it only lasted one day. And they would try. They would try to hoard that food to keep it for the next day, but it would get maggots and it would get moldy, and in the morning it was unedible. They learned pretty quickly they couldn't do it no matter what. No matter what storage containers they might have had, no matter what great prepping system, right, that they might have had, that the manna wasn't going to last more than 24 hours. And what a vivid picture that is for us. By the way, it lasted 48 hours on Saturday because God told them to rest on Sunday, and they didn't get manna from the sky on Sunday. So another miraculous part about it was one day out of 7, it would last for 48 hours. Anyway, um, what a beautiful picture of the fact that we're supposed to rely on his provision daily. And how dare we try to do anything else, because that's exactly where he wants us. That's what he wants us to do. And I just had a talk that night with this sweet young woman that I don't like the sound of it, and it's really hard, and I'm not sure I really believe it, but I know I believe it, if that makes sense, that we're just supposed to have enough for today. And if all we can do is breathe and get a little food in us and maybe get a few hours of rest, that's all we're going to need. And that's all we have for today. And tomorrow is a whole nother day. And he's going to give us what we need for tomorrow. And the day after that, the same thing. And he's going to do the same thing for this young man. And I know it. I know it with certainty. So I thought, okay, well, on top of that, I've been working, on my manuscript, sent it to the publisher. Now we're in revision stage, and I'm doing adding some things and changing around some things. And one of the things that I was working on was storage. And I've been thinking about, with storage of wheat berries, and how it's an amazing thing, by the way. Wheat berries are the best food to ever try to have food storage with. If you want to start storing some food, wheat berries are the thing. Um, and it's a very simple process, honestly, to have them stored away for decades and be able to have bread available no matter what is going on around you. um, but as I'm writing this section and editing it, and I'm thinking a lot about this manna, and I'm thinking about, I've shared here on the podcast multiple times, I will never, ever tell you that we can be self sufficient. I will never be a platform that talks about prepping for the zombie apocalypse because I firmly do not believe we could ever actually be prepared for disaster. And I don't think we're supposed to be. I think we're supposed to be prepared in the sense that we know the skills, we've learned a skill set, we figured out how to grow some real food and how to make certain things, whether it be flour blends or teas or whatever, that we are still going to be able to make if the food system collapses. And I don't think we're supposed to just be able to make them for ourselves. I think we're supposed to be able to share them with people who need it. It's a total different mindset than the prepper who wants to hoard it all away for themselves. And I feel like if all of us are doing this, we're all going to have a skill set that we can help each other with, which, it's nothing um, crazy at all. It's the way things were done back in the 1930s, 1940s. I know that's how my grandfather did it. He was a blacksmith. He would shoe the horses for the neighbors, and they had other talents that they would help him with when he needed it. And then when it was time to harvest the wheat, everybody came together and one day after the other, they harvested the wheat on each farm. So, I mean, that's the way it's supposed to be. And it's nothing crazy that I'm coming up with. I know that. Um, so I'm getting way sidetracked. Okay. So I've been thinking a lot about bread, obviously. I'm thinking a lot about storage and how I'm not a prepper and how I can't be self sufficient. And And then thinking about, the Israelites and these 40 years that they're wandering. And I thought, you know what? You know what I'm going to do for this episode? I'm going to read maybe 15 ish verses from Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy is the book of the Bible that was written by Moses, and it is his directions and encouragement and reminders to God's people before they enter the promised land. After this time in the wilderness, um, I'm going to read you some verses and what he has to say about the manna and some other things. But as hard as these 12 weeks have been, it has been really good to remind myself again and again. First of all, it is a season. Second of all, God is providing daily throughout that season. And third, there's a lot of things I have to be thankful for in the season, not just, the beautiful blue sky, that kind of thing, because surely there's those things too. And it helps to think about those. Um, but also the fact that if it wasn't for seasons like this, I might decide at some point that I am self sufficient. I might decide at some point that I really can do it all myself. And that would truly it'd be a bad place to be. I don't ever want to be that person. If I hope if any friends or family ever hear Michelle say, I've become self sufficient, I hope that they realize there's a problem. They need to help me. There's something wrong. Okay. This is from Deuteronomy chapter 8, and it might seem like a weird thing to be reading to you in honor of the Easter holiday, but it's where I'm at, and I decided it was something that I hope encourages some others because I know all of us have hard times we're going through in one way or another. And if you don't right now, that's awesome. But you and I both know you will at some point, right? That's what life is full of hard seasons. So hopefully this will be an encouragement to you. It's in Deuteronomy chapter 8. I'll start with verse 2. You shall remember all the way which the Lord your God has led you in the wilderness for these 40 years, that he might humble you, testing you to know what is in your heart, whether you'd keep his commandments or not. He humbled you and he let you be hungry, and then he fed you with manna, which you did not know, nor did your fathers know, that he might make you understand that man does not live by bread alone, but man lives by everything that proceeds from the mouth of the Lord. Your clothing didn't wear out on you, nor did your foot swell for 40 years. Those, thus you are to know in your heart that the Lord your God was disciplining you, just as man disciplines his son. Therefore you shall keep the commandments of the Lord your God, to walk in his ways and to fear him, for the Lord your God is bringing you into a good land, a land of brooks and water, of fountains and springs, flowing forth in valleys and hills, a land of wheat and barley, vines and fig trees and pomegranates, a land of olive oil and honey, a land where you will eat without scarcity, in which you will not lack anything. A land whose stones are iron, and out of whose hills you can dig copper. When you've eaten and you're satisfied, you shall bless the Lord your God for the good land that he has given you. Beware that you do not forget the Lord your God by not keeping his commandments and his ordinances and his statutes, which I'm commanding you today. Otherwise, when you've eaten and you're satisfied and you've built good houses and lived in them, and when your herds and your flocks multiply and your silver and your gold multiply and all that you have multiplies, then your heart will become proud and you will forget the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. He led you through the great and terrible wilderness with its fiery serpents and scorpions, and thirsty ground where there was no water. He brought water for you out of the rocks. In the wilderness, he fed you manna, which your fathers didn't know, that he might humble you and that he might test you to do good for you in the end. Otherwise, you might say in your heart, my power and the strength of my hand made me this wealth. But you shall remember the Lord your God, for it is he who is giving you the power to make wealth, that he may confirm his covenant which he swore to your fathers, as it is to this day. It's good stuff. You know, any verses that talk about wheat and barley, I'm going to like, right? But the fact that they never knew of this manna, didn't have any clue what it even was. And it came literally from the word of God. Literally, his word created it. Like, ultimately, it wasn't the bread that kept them alive through all those 40 years, through all that horrible experience. It was literally God that kept them alive because his word caused the bread to fall, which gave them the nutrients. It's good stuff. Um, well, in the wilderness, I'm reading a note here. Israel had to depend on God for the necessities of life, in the rich land, there would be a tempting sense of self-sufficiency. And security could lead to them forgetting God. So I wish for you today a wonderful blessing of a very wonderful balance of difficulties in your life where you can depend on God and know he's providing, and then also wonderful blessings that flow through your days and you can give thanks to God for them. I hope you have a blessed, no, this is coming out Monday. I hope you had a blessed Easter. And if you don't know what I'm talking about with all this stuff, you just listened, because I don't know, you were stuck in the car and had nothing else to do, or if you listened out of curiosity, please reach out to me if you like. I would be happy to share with you some wonderful resources that you could read, could check out to find out more about what I'm talking about with this faith and the God that I love. If nothing else, pick up a Bible and read some Psalms, and that will introduce you to this faith. But I hope you had a blessed Easter, and I hope you have a good week. And don't worry, next week we're getting back to our regular scheduled program. Remember, guys, it is easy to forget how blessed we are to live this life. So enjoy the simple, everyday efforts. It's not easy, but it is a good life.